Hello again, this is Kurgan here, back with another BF3 weapon review. Today, we're going to be looking at another assault rifle, this time the AUG A3. Now, I previously reviewed the AUG for armored kill, because it got one change from there, which was a change to its reload time. It got a 0.1 second adjustment, so not a huge deal, but it was a weapon I hadn't seen a ton of reviews for, so I figured at that time that I would put one out, so if people were wondering what exactly it was good at, that information would now be out there for them. Well, during that review, I harped a lot on the first shot recoil being a determining factor in how you actually use this weapon. Yeah, I feel it's a stat that helps you establish how you should burst fire a weapon, long burst, short burst, and that kind of thing. So I talked about that a lot in this review, or in that review, because this weapon has a high first shot recoil. Now, with this latest patch from Aftermath, they actually reduced that first shot recoil. Previously, it was 3.0, now it's 2.6. Now, how that basically works is it's just a multiplier for your basic recoil. So the basic recoil on this weapon is only 0.2. It's the lowest of the low. Assault rifles, it doesn't get any lower than 0.2. So before it would be 3.0 times 0.2, which would give you 0.60 recoil on your first shot. So it's 3 times greater basically. Well, now that first shot recoil multiplier has been changed from 3.0 to 2.6. So basically it's 2.6 times 0.2, which gives you a first shot recoil of 0.52, which is a pretty large reduction. That's about 13 or 14%. So it's changed how you can play with this weapon. Before, I recommended long bursts because you didn't want to get back into that first shot recoil. The thing jumps a lot in the first shot, so it laid down into auto fire very well, and that's what I recommended for it. Well, now it's a bit more versatile. It still lays down into auto fire just as well as it did before, but now at longer range targets, you can go with those shorter bursts in order to actually hit them instead of having to commit to a longer burst, because that's what the weapon was good at before. Beyond all that, those are the changes for the weapon. If you've noticed the title for this video, it mentions the Pubstars. I was playing it around, and about halfway through, I looked at the scoreboard and I noticed Matimio was in there. So I asked him if it was him, and sure enough it was, and that was about it. I'm sure he's got a lot of people that he talks to, a lot of people that mention it to him, so you know, he is cordial and says hi or whatever. And so I kept playing, and I ran into him a few times, and then I noticed that X-Factor joined the server, you know, obviously I'm Matimio, so I went back and looked at my footage for the game and realized I have enough footage to actually make a full review from this one game, so I figured, why not? I don't got a ton of encounters against them, but I do got some, and I had a good time, so that's what we got. Now, back to the AUG itself. If you haven't watched the previous review that I made for this, I'm going to talk basically just about the characteristics of the AUG, since it hasn't really got any massive changes in quite a few patches. The one thing that people may not realize about the AUG is that it's a bullpup, and what that means basically is that it excels at hip firing compared to any other type of weapon in the game. Bullpups are just, they hip fire so much better. They have a reduced spread basically. So that's this weapon's strength. The only problem with it is the fact that this weapon only fires 700 rounds per minute. So if you go into close quarters with this weapon thinking, okay, I have the AUG, it's a bullpup, I'm going to win, that's not necessarily true. It's going to be more accurate, but you're going to come across weapons that are not bullpups that are going to fire faster. And now it becomes a really interesting scenario, because if they hit you, if they have that accuracy, they're going to kill you. So it's basically playing on the fact that you're hoping that other people miss. So if you come across really good people in close quarters, you're probably going to lose with the AUG. But if they miss, you can take advantage of that because you have that bullpup and you are going to be hitting them a lot more than they're going to be hitting you, as long as you are, you know, keep the crosshairs on your target. So it's a really interesting weapon because some of the other bullpups in the game fire a lot faster than this, and that's how, you know, they're meant for close quarters. You go into close quarters, it's accurate hip firing, and it fires a fast rate. That's what it's meant for, is close quarters. The AUG's a really strange weapon like that. It's really good at medium range, pretty good at long range, and it's okay at close quarters as well, simply because it's a bullpup. It's really weird though that 700 rounds per minute just doesn't mix completely well with a bullpup, but I would say that it's better off than something like the L85A2, which actually is a bullpup as well and fires 50 rounds a minute less than this. That does not feel at home at all in close quarters to me. Now, as I already talked about a little bit about going full auto with AUG and its vertical recoil being extremely low at 0.2. The reason that it does go full auto very well is because of that, because it has the lowest assault rifle recoil in the game. So after that first shot, that high first shot multiplier goes away, it diminishes, and now you're only dealing with basically the weapon's recoil. And since it's extremely low, this weapon loves to go into longer bursts. So that's why having that first shot reduction on the multiplier now has made this weapon a really good choice to use, because it's really versatile now. It can still do full auto just as well as it could before, but now you can do the short burst with it, so it's really, really fun to play with because it's just got a lot of options, a lot of strengths now. And the other thing that fits in really well with that is the fact that the AUG has the fastest muzzle velocity out of any assault rifle in the game. It's at 670 meters per second. So that's what helps it also be good at longer ranges, because you won't have to lead your target as much. Your bullets travel so fast. The KH-2002 and the M16 are tied for second behind it at 650. So if you've played with those, that'll help you judge how to use this weapon a little bit, but this will be just a little bit faster. So it's really nice not having to lead your target as much. And last but not least, this is a stat that many people look to when deciding what weapon to choose, is the reload time. It's extremely important, especially if you're going close quarters, because you can't have a long reload time. Something like the FAMAS, which has got the fastest firing rate in the game and the fastest time to kill in the game, sounds amazing for close quarters, but the problem with it is it has an extremely long reload. And also, there's two different reload timers basically. There's short and there's long. You don't ever want to hit long. Long is when you empty your clip out. Now you don't want to hit that. You want to do your short. So even if you leave one bullet left in your clip, that's going to cut your reload time down with most weapons a lot. With something like the FAMAS, it's a whole second that it actually increases, which is an eternity in close quarters. You just don't have that time to actually sit and reload. Now that's where the AUG actually separates itself a little bit. Its reload time, its short reload time is 2.5 seconds, which isn't anything amazing. It's actually kind of on the slow end of the realm, but its long reload time is only 2.9 seconds. Now a lot of weapons out there, a lot of the other ones gain a whole second from the short to the long reload. It really penalizes you for emptying out your clip. Now it's not so much with the AUG, so I would recommend leaving some bullets in your clip as you reload, because it's going to save you from that long reload timer. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world. So since it's only another 0.4 seconds, it's actually a pretty short window that you gain going to the long reload. So that's kind of a strength for the weapon, but still try and stick with that short reload as you would with any other weapon. Now, overall, what do I think about the AUG? Personally, I'd say as far as feeling-wise goes, when I play with this gun, this is probably my favorite feeling weapon in the game. The only real downfall to it is the fact that it fires 700 rounds per minute. If it fired a little bit faster, this would probably be the gun that I would use all the time. But since it doesn't quite fire fast enough, you're going to give up some battles against the best players in the server. And that's really disappointing to me when I know that if my gun fired a little bit faster, I would have had them. So I end up not playing with it as often. But if I'm going for medium to longer range engagements, I actually tend to favor the AUG. The firing rate isn't going to matter so much. The close quarters is where that firing rate's really going to matter, where you really need to land every bullet, because if you don't, they're going to probably kill you. So I really enjoy the AUG, and I highly recommend it to others. Try it out, especially if you're kind of a mid-range player who dips into close quarters every now and then, because it's a bullpup, so it works really well for those kind of situations and those kind of players. That's going to be it for this review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see something else reviewed, leave it down in the comments. I like to read the comments and respond to usually everybody. I try and respond to every person, because it's really fun for me to engage with you guys. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. And as always, this is Kurgan, and thanks for watching.